In association with NASSCOM, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, My Startup TV brings the TechNext show. Join us on the 1st and 15th of every month for inspiring stories, news and views. Each episode will feature a young, innovative and dynamic company. TechNext show will be broadcasted on NASSCOM Hyderabad's YouTube channel. You can watch the program live on our Android app and across social media, or you can simply log on to www.mystartuptv.in.
Welcome viewers to My Startup TV. I am your host Aishwarya. NASSCOM AP and Telangana, in association with My Startup TV, brings you the special show that showcases inspiring story, news and views. The show is broadcasted on the 1st and 15th of every month. The program is broadcasted live on My Startup TV's Android app, available on Google Play Store. This episode is on artificial intelligence. Top headlines for today are: new drone rules to boost innovation and help startups. India to become world's second largest cloud talent hub. DRDO and NASSCOM to partner with Andhra University. Now the news in detail are: according to a report by NASSCOM, the new drone rule will boost innovation and help MSMEs and startups to create new growth opportunities. The new drone rules 2021 will enable the industry to leverage technology, which will further help in driving innovation in critical growth sectors. NASSCOM has stated that India has the potential to become the world's second largest cloud talent hub with the combined effort of government bodies, education and skilling organizations, and technology providers. Andhra University is teaming up with the Defense Research and Development Organization and the National Association of Software and Service Companies. DRDO is going to support AU in its effort for supporting and mentoring its food research and testing laboratory. Wipro has won 2 awards at the Engineering Innovation and Excellence Awards organized by NASSCOM. It won the Engineering, Research and Development Organization of the Year Award and the Service Delivery Excellence of the Year Award for Automotive Infotainment. Karnataka Innovative Technology Society and NASSCOM Center of Excellence has launched an intellectual property summary platform on its website to help investors understand complex documents in a user-friendly manner. That's all for today.
Next, we have a founder talk on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science.
Welcome viewers to another episode of TechNext show. NASSCOM, AP and Telangana, in association with My Startup TV, brings you the TechNext show that showcases inspiring stories, news and views. The show is broadcasted on 1st and 15th of every month. Today on our TechNext show, we have Shirisha Pieti, who's the co-founder and head of consulting at Round Square. This young company uses AI, ML, blockchain and intelligent automation to help their clients improve their customer engagements, employees empowerment and operational efficiency. So let's find out in detail with Shirisha as to what the company is all about and what it does. Shirisha, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's an honor being a part of this show.
Great. Shirisha, let's start with why the name Round Square.
Oh, that's a interesting story. We were the founders of the company. The leadership team essentially has been in the services industry for more than 2 decades. But we wanted to do things differently. And we'll probably cover that in a lot more detail later on. But our biggest, push in terms of setting up this company was to look at ourselves as people that are change makers, round pegs and square holes. That's the name that's inspired by the Apple TV advertisement that ran in the late 90s. So that's who we are. We want to do the same thing, but differently and hopefully better.
Tell us about your company. What is Roundscare all about, and what I know you're into AI, ML, and data science. Tell us a little bit more as to what kind of products do you have, what kind of services do you provide? Is it a SaaS-based company? Tell us more about the company.
Right. So we are a services company. We provide services for our clients across the globe in the data and ML space. That's what we are. But then how do we do it differently? There's a lot of services companies out there. How do we do it differently? We do it differently because we know what we don't want to do. We don't want ourselves dragged into things that we are not good at. So we have the courage and the ability to actually say no to some of this stuff. That's something that I think is very important for young companies. What we also do is, try and make a difference from a digital transformation point of view. When people say, "Oh, we're getting on a digital transformation journey," the first thing that kind of comes to your mind is, "Oh, this is going to be a 3-year long, multi-million-dollar deal. It is only won by tier one companies." Yeah, that's how the trend has been all this while. But we, in our own way, are trying to make a change and create a dent there. So what we tell our customers is we are in here for doing bite-sized digital transformation. Every implementation that you do, it's not going to take you more than 12 weeks, and you will see some growth, some change in the direction of digital transformation. So that's what we do. The tip of our spear is data and ML. Nothing happens without having the right data and the right insights. So we do that. We do it in a manner that is palatable for the enterprises and the companies that we work for. And of course, there's thought leadership that we provide. There is no project in our company that doesn't have one of the founding team overseeing the implementation on a day-to-day basis. That's what we do.
You also talked about how women are playing a key role even in when it comes to high tech work that you do at your company. How easy or difficult it has been for you as a company to find skilled human resource from within?
Skilled resources is always a challenge. When you say skilled, a slight correction that I want to do from our side, from the way we perceive it, we are looking at skill in terms of ability to learn. Because the tech space here today is so disruptive that one technology, there is no guarantee that you're going to be using it or working with it 1 year down the lane. So yeah, we have like everybody else. I think we are in that struggle of finding the right candidates, right resources, all of that. But that aside, what we definitely look for is, yes, you need to be good at something that you do, but you should be willing to do more, learn more. That's something that we absolutely look for. Specifically to women employees, honestly, we haven't had any distinction there, right? So women employees, we should be looking for this sort of a skill set. If it's men, we should be looking at this sort of skill set. Absolutely no. In fact, we've never considered a resource a man or a woman before we hired. Never happened. But one thing that we actually did is, in fact, if you look us up, you will see something called Her AI Story. That's something of a program that we initiated internally within Roundsquare. And now we kind of invite dignitaries across the tech world also to participate in it. Once a quarter, we conduct a session where ML resources, women in our company, kind of take lead, set up a collaborative platform for them to share their ideas of what they've done internally and invite feedback from people world over. So that's what we do. So we nurture the women employees, absolutely. We give them all the space that they need, but that has got nothing to do with being a man or a woman. Everybody gets that space. Everybody is hopefully comfortable working with us, happy about getting back to work. When I say back to work, probably switching on the laptop every morning, sitting wherever they are. But yeah, we just give them the space that they need.
Last 2 years, especially the 18 months, has been difficult for pretty much all of them. How did your company cope with it?
By doing good work. Yes, there is a lot of marketing, HR help that we had. Our HR, again, headed by a woman. She does a fabulous job. She keeps all the teams and resources, everybody motivated. She talks to everybody. All of that is fine. We have the only way that I think we've been able to manage the all-time low that we've hit because of COVID is by being focused on the work. And when people were not able to contribute because of whatever reasons, people in the family having issues, or they themselves being succumbing to COVID, we've tried keeping them as disconnected from work for that duration as possible, because there is absolutely nothing that is more important than health and mental well-being during that period of time. So yeah, only thing that I think took us out of that doom and gloom was doing some good work and being appreciative of what everybody was doing and contributing. There was nobody that was pulled up. There was nobody that was said you did not clock X number of hours. There was nobody that was pulled up for missing deadlines once in a while. In fact, we actually went ahead and sent emails to all our clients saying, if you see a dip in productivity, please bear with us for a month. We'll get back to where we were. Thankfully, everyone in the company is sound and safe. The parents are doing well. Yes, we've had some losses within the families of some of our colleagues, but hopefully all of that is behind us now.
Very true. I mean, companies, when they stand by their people, the people, they give back. Very true. As a AI, ML company and data science company, what does the future look like?
Interesting and at the same time scary future. Scary because you never know where this is going to head. So maybe a year from now, we're all going to be talking about running models on quantum. So yeah, it's scary. But then fear is a good thing. It keeps you on your toes and it will help you read through, plow through, and figure out what the future holds. But purely from a enterprises point of view, I think all the companies that we serve, we haven't seen one company kind of step back and say, oh no, we will look at ML at a later point in time. Let's get something else done first. Nobody is seeing that, which is a big shift in thinking. Whether it's a small enterprise, we work with startups, we work with very large banks, we work with large manufacturing companies. It doesn't matter. Every company that we work with, nobody wants to even think of a product and building out certain use cases, scenarios, whatever, without the underlying current of how is it going to help deliver value to the customer? How am I going to plug in machine learning interventions at this stage at some point in time? It might be today, it might be tomorrow, absolutely doesn't matter. But no one's even thinking of, oh, let's talk about reports and ML later. Everyone's starting with, oh, if I had all this data and if you actually could put all these models in there, how would it look like? Let's imagine a world like that and then build for it. That I think is a massive shift. That is something that's going to keep things interesting for all the enterprises. Yeah, it's up to us to figure out how the tech can help the business and not the other way around. Nobody is going to be doing technology because it's a cool tech to do anymore. They're going to be doing it only if it makes sense for the business. And that's, I think, something that AI has absolutely and clearly managed to do.
So let's understand about your the clienteles that you have, and you are also present across the globe. Tell us how are you distributed, where are you located from, where do you have offices, just for the benefit of probably your potential clients who would be listening to this interview, watching this interview, and they would get some idea about it.
We are headquartered in Hyderabad, India. We have offices in the US. We have offices in Australia. If not for COVID, we would have had an office in London that got delayed. But yeah, we've got presence in US, Australia, and India. The clientele is spread across the world, right from Australia, Singapore, of course, India. We have a few clients in India too. Then we have customers in the US, across the US. The clientele itself, the work that they do, like I mentioned a while ago, we have startups. We have a peculiar case where founders of different companies kind of reach out to us with just an idea. We eventually become their tech arm. So sometimes we call it a technology as a service, just so that it makes it a lot more easier for us to understand and figure out how to address the client needs. So we've had cases where we've done domain name search for our client, named their products, actually, of course, deployed it, managed it, took it from an idea to execution. We've got clients like that. In fact, we're working with a customer in Australia where they're one of the second companies to be able to do home delivery of medicines. So they came to us when it was just an idea. We're still working with them. Yes, there were a little bit of highs and lows in it, but we were able to sustain that relationship and deliver value to that customer, which is why they still continue to work with us. Then we have large enterprises. In fact, we're working with one of the top banks in Caribbean. That's one of our biggest customer right now. And banking has always been exciting, right? And if a bank takes over a digital transformation journey, there's nothing like it. But we got to, for the first time in a large company setting, experiment and actually deliver on that bite-sized digital transformation that we spoke about. So for this bank, we've got at least 11 initiatives that are going on right now. In fact, we had a call with our client just yesterday. The entire team was there. The client was talking about why it is important for us to be aligned to the goals of the company and their digital transformation KPIs, etc. So yeah, we work with the bank. We're doing model validation for them. We're doing data architecture refresh for them. We're taking them from on-prem to cloud. We're building new age credit decisioning models for them, reimagining their entire lending journey for that matter. We're doing work that is actually going to cause impact with that bank. Then we have a customer who's the largest HVAC manufacturer based out of US. We're doing something very, very unique for them, which is non-intrusive tracking and tracing of coils that are used in the AC machines. So those coils, if there is a problem within that coil, which comes due to a process which is equivalent to welding. I won't get to the details, but people can associate with welding, I guess. So if you're welding a coil and if there is an air bubble that is trapped in there, or if there is some other curvature that is not right, it actually causes problems once it gets fit into a HVAC machine years later. So this customer wanted us to use computer vision to try and track and trace faulty coils on the factory floor. And we've successfully completed a pilot. We are looking at rolling out in multiple lines, multiple factories as we speak. So for a big customer in Australia, we manage their entire a platform that is completely SaaS, completely serverless, sitting on Azure. The entire application is built, developed, and managed by us. And that's security implementation for small airports and large malls. That's what they do, and our team manages all of that. Yeah.
So finally, Shrisha, My Startup TV is a channel for young companies like you, and though we say we are startup, but as the name goes, it's for startups. But yours is a young company, nevertheless, for entrepreneurs like you. What are your thoughts about our channel?
So there is a lot of information deluge these days, right? So everybody is an expert. Everybody can have an opinion. But I think what is going to be important for the startups, what is going to be important for potential entrepreneurs is to know where to go, look at exactly what is going to make sense for them, rather than getting dragged by I wouldn't want to be rude, by some sort of a posts on LinkedIn that talk about how entrepreneurship should be. Those are all good messages, but I think it is important to be real. It is important to connect to people who are actually doing it. You don't have to imbibe everything that everybody is saying, but you at least need to know what people are actually in real life doing. And I think your channel definitely makes a lot of impact that way. You get to see the real people. You get to actually understand what goes on behind the scenes. There's a face to a name, so to speak. So I think it's absolutely important for people to relate to that and realize what's the ideal content to go ahead and look at. That's great job, I guess.
Coming up next is a feature on how artificial intelligence is disrupting all sectors significantly.
Artificial intelligence is popularly known as AI. It is a popular theme for Hollywood. However, artificial intelligence is no more limited to sci-fi movies. It has found a place in day-to-day life. AI is being used in online stores, streaming services, factories, MNCs, social media, dating apps, and whatnot. Welcome viewers to My Startup TV. I am your host Aishwarya. I'm here with another episode of What's the Trend? Tech companies are investing heavily in artificial intelligence and data science. Using AI ML for data analysis, companies are optimizing and automating their processes. This has resulted in better productivity, less human interference, and of course, an increase in profits. The current surge in AI research, investment, and real business applications are unprecedented. We have put together some of the leading industries where AI is disrupting significantly. In the healthcare sector, artificial intelligence is being applied in a wide range of healthcare services like telediagnosis, individual follow-up of each patient at a genetic level, virtual nurses, and surgeries performed by robots, among others. The retail and e-commerce sector appears to be the lead investor in AI. According to IDC, retail companies are planning to invest $3.4 billion by the end of the year. Even the banking and finance industry is witnessing massive transformations since the onset of AI applications. According to Accenture, automation, bots, automatic learning, and adaptive intelligence are becoming a part of the financial team at a high speed. Even the manufacturing sector is leading the way in AI adoption and application. AI is being used in this sector from workforce planning to product design. This is leading to improved efficiency, product quality, and employee safety. AI and machine learning have also entered the entertainment and gaming industry. With the demand for OTT platforms increasing rapidly, AI is helping such platforms provide a more personalized experience to the end users. According to a study by Infosys, 29% of energy companies worldwide say they have implemented solutions based on artificial intelligence and are satisfied with the results obtained. So the energy sector is also not behind in adopting AI and ML. Lastly, the education sector is also coping up in the race towards digital transformation using artificial intelligence. According to a study by Stanford University, education will be the sector that will undergo the most change between now and 2030. However, there are two major fears associated with AI. First, many tech thought leaders have expressed their concern about the growing role played by AI and ML. Second, there is this lingering fear that robots driven by AI and ML might completely control the human race. At the grassroots level, there is a fear that robots could replace human jobs, leading to job losses. Well, even during the 90s, similar concerns and features were expressed about computers, and what we witnessed was different. So when it comes to AI, ML, and robotics, the jury is still out. Only time will tell how this technology revolution will impact human lives. However, for now, we humans are in control of AI, and that should not be lost. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.
Next on our show, we have a panel talk on the scope, future, and impact of artificial intelligence.
Welcome viewers to another panel talk discussion on our TechNext show. Artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning are few of the terms that we get to hear very often these days. They are now playing a key role in functioning and the back-end operations of all industries and sectors. In our panel today, we are talking about the scope and future and the impact of AI, ML, and data science in this globalized economy. To discuss this, I have three eminent guests from the sectors of AI, ML, and data science. My panelists today are Shrisha Pieti, who is the co-founder of Round Square; Shrikant Lapala, founder and CEO of Dextera Digital; and then Shudhanshu, who is the founder and CEO of VSEC. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's start by understanding where we are today with when we talk about AI, ML, and data science. Uh, when you see India as a market space, let's start with the lady, Shrisha.
India as a market space is actually quite interesting, mainly because of the bold decisions that entrepreneurs in India are taking. And we actually have a spread of industries that are young and very, very rooted in tech. So yeah, right from experimenting with creating a product that is AI centric to trying to leverage AI and change the way it is imagined for large enterprises, we can actually see both of them happening simultaneously in India. That in itself is a big deal. But so yeah, essentially India is on the cusp of probably being called an AI world leader very, very soon.
Oh, that's good to hear. Shrikant, you have had tenures in India and abroad as well. When you compare India versus the global, the globalized world, how do you see where do you see the connect or where do you see the disconnect between what we are doing and what the world needs?
I'm a very firm believer of having worked in US, lived in US for some time, lived around all around the world for a few years before moving back to India. So, in general, I think we all have probably read the book called "The World Is Flat," and it goes to say that is very much true when it comes to technology. It's a level playing field across the world. It's all about the ecosystem that supports the technology today, the innovation, is more where there is an ecosystem that is playing for that innovation. So, in my view, I think Western countries, Western counterparts had more support in the ecosystem. That's why we've kind of seen some of the very good startups that are coming, that have come in the past from West. But nevertheless, as Sirisha has mentioned, in the last several years, we've seen very strong motivation from the ecosystem around in India. There are so many startup hubs that have kind of taken into like an incubation mode. So I see a lot of Indian entrepreneurs trying to take up this challenge and be very innovative and very daring in my view. So at this point in time, it's flat level playing field. It's globalized economy. I think you have a better idea. You are the kingmaker.
Sudhanshu, you are a consultant and you primarily work in manufacturing segment or sector. What kind of trends are you noticing? When you talk to your clients, is there firstly, the understanding of need for these, new technologies, emerging technologies, and are the clients or the companies ready to adopt it?
These are two great questions. So, in terms of AI and ML, the application has been more in the Western world where labor is limited, and to get quality labor, either it's not available or it's really expensive. So they have a strong need to get into using industrial robots and machine learning systems of assisted robots for the manufacturing world. But in the recent past, in the past 5 to 10 years, there's been a lot of influx of robots in manufacturing in China. And who would believe it, that the most populous country has been using robots, and they are gearing their directive from what's his name, Xi Jinping, the president, that productivity is the key task for them for the next few years to improve productivity. So we are seeing that trend in China, and in India, we are in between these two things. For example, like the company of Ola that's manufacturing two-wheelers, or Ather Motors, they have sprung up very soon because of using these devices of robots and assisted robots and other industrial robots to help them speed up manufacturing with low headcount. The pandemic has actually accelerated it by a few years in terms of the usage of robots. major automobile manufacturers do use robots, but they are depending on them much more, especially for the data collection and to understand what's going on, the logistics part of it, the supply chain. That these aspects are being taken care of with more induction of robots. But India is a diverse country, and SMEs are key for any country to grow. So I would say the implementation of robots is going to be a little weaker than other countries. I mean, the penetration, given the fact that many people are unemployed and they need to have basic employment, right? So that's these are two challenges in India.
Yes, definitely. You touch upon a lot of interesting points, and especially when it comes to India, we cannot be, going all out tech out there. We need to also protect the interest of our people, a large, a base where employment is important. Sirisha, you provide solutions to your clients which are global. What kind of difference do you find, when they approach you for solutions, from the standpoint of ML and AI and data science? And also, how do you go about, structuring the what do they need, what do your clients need?
Yeah, so this is going to be very, very different from what we've been doing all this while, right? So when we say we've been working with clients globally, at one point in time there was absolute clarity on what is the requirement. So somebody would say, I would need this thing built, and this is probably going to be a mobile app that will have these 5 screens, etc., etc. So it was very clearly laid out at one point in time. Now the big difference that we are seeing, and that's also the need of the day and need of the hour, is the fact that you shouldn't be constrained by what your requirements are going to be at that level. We should be able to be a lot more fluid, truly agile in that sense, right? So when customers approach us today, the big difference that we're seeing is they're not thinking of ML as an afterthought. So they're not saying, okay, let us start somewhere and then we will figure out what ML is. No, nobody's saying that anymore. That's one big difference that we've noticed. Everybody is actually painting a picture of what their platform or what their use case is going to be with ML infusion from day one. So for us, the responsibility is that much more, because it is very easy to kind of say, yes, I will build a machine learning model for you, even without the company collecting one single piece of data. It is very simple to say that and, essentially set up a team and get some money out of that deal. But we have to be a lot more cognizant about the fact that a good machine learning algorithm will probably need decent size of data, will probably need a better understanding of the use case. There needs to be a clear ground truth that we can compare and measure it against. So our responsibility as a services company kind of changed dramatically. At one point in time, we were order takers to a large extent. Every services company was that. Now we are thought leaders, because we have to enable the client understand what is happening in the technology. Every one of us would have heard about people, process, and technology, all three contributing and all of that, right? Now, technology is the centerpiece. People have to adjust to it. Process has to understand it and then work together in tandem. So that difference, and helping the clients understand that and then infuse ML at an appropriate point in time, without, of course, like Sudhanshu was saying a while back, having that fear of, oh, if there is a machine learning algorithm, my job is going to be lost. So we have to elevate those fears. The change management needs to be there. So it's a difficult world, but it is a different and an exciting world. So that much is very, very clear, I guess.
Definitely, what we see, on social media and different places, when we see how AI, ML, and data science being used, definitely for somebody like me who's an outsider, but very keenly observe this, it is interesting. Shrikant, what kind of challenges do you face as a company, or what kind of opportunities do you see as a company, both as an Indian entity and as a global platform?
So, Sunil, what we are seeing is, when it comes to, there is a very clear difference in the buying pattern of an Indian customer versus a Western customer. An Indian customer, for all known reasons, all native reasons, I would say, is more a cost-conscious buyer. So he's still kind of trying to say that, hey, if I can get so much amount of digitization at the price point that I'm comfortable with, that's enough for us at this point in time. Whereas if you see a buyer instinct from a West, they want something which is not run of the mill. They want something which is next generation. They are okay to breach the borders in terms of the limits that we can explore with the technology at hand. So that's a very clear buying pattern. Now, that buying pattern could be because of what each of these buyers are exposed to. Second thing is that when it comes to, as Sirish has rightly pointed out, these days when our customers look up to us, right, they are they are actually giving us a very fairly abstract problem statement. It's not a very detailed, down to the line, down to the word kind of requirements. So they are ready to explore abstract ideas. They're ready to explore with we coming with the solutions to them for those abstract ideas. And there's a fair amount of acceptability in terms of we driving the solution end to end, and they're okay as long as the outcomes are achieved. When it comes to India, I would say the cost conscious in terms of the ness of the buyer is still holding them back in breaching the barriers or touching or testing the limits of the technology. So that's, I think, it's in some way is okay, because we are slightly behind in our digital transformation curve, India compared to the West. But I'm sure we'll get there. The reason being, someone in the panel has pointed out that data is the key when you want to do anything to do with AI and ML. And we can proudly say, with the kind of consumer base that India and highly populous countries like India, China, and these countries have, we probably will have much more positive and right decisions made by these models because of the large data underlying data set compared to some of the other countries in Europe and West, because the whatever you do, at the end of the day, the data base and the data set for them where those models run will be relatively smaller. So I'm not, really, again, I still believe in the fact that in the world is flat. We will catch up. Indian customers, Indian consumers will probably start to see the positive effects of what AI and ML and robotics can bring. And I also want to touch upon the point with that fear of you know job. We've been seeing this for last 4 or 5 years at least. I've been there hearing about this for 6, 7 years now, right? That bots come and the job market is going to reduce. If we were to go by any metric in the industry, probably in the last 14, 15, 18 months, I've seen the highest number of hiring rates on LinkedIn than I've ever seen in my 24 years of career, right? So, and if I see all of those requests are probably outside of the typical BPO industry, which India was known in terms of the highest job kind of creator, right? So we are seeing more and more jobs getting created, more and more opportunities getting created in these latest technologies. So I think the fear of losing a job or the fear of manpower getting reduced is probably more a misnomer at this point in time.
What Shrikant brought up, tell me, there is the price is an issue for Indian consumer or Indian industry. Uh, do you think, given this price sensitivity among our, the end user being the companies and the industries, will we be ever bring in world class facility or manufacturing facility which can produce, world class products?
I'll give you two sectors where it is essential to use robots. The two sectors are automobile and electronics. In the automobile world, you have an assembly line, whether it's a car or a bike or a plane or anything, and things have to move at a certain speed. Every workstation has to finish tasks in certain time. So robots will be used. And for the logistics to ensure parts are being supplied at the right time for JIT manufacturing, just-in-time manufacturing, the supply chain teams need to be in touch with the ERP products of their suppliers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and check the on-hand inventory and match them. So there is going to be a lot of use case scenarios for AI and ML systems. In electronics, you need clean rooms. Clean rooms can be class 100, 10, 1,000 and more. And you just can't avoid it, because if you know the processor, the Intel processor that you use, is probably takes a few months to build. It's a very slow process. And that needs a very high degree of one, quality, at the same time performance on the site, and the quality in the sense you're spending few months, and if that batch is infected with say dust in the air, it's a total loss. That quarter can go, that the company can be in bad shape. Now the directive by the Prime Minister, the PLI incentives and stuff are geared towards electronics, given the global chip crunch, which is affecting auto industry and other sectors. In fact, even handheld electronics like laptops and others. So because of TSMC, the largest manufacturer, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. So given these situations, it's imperative that robots will be used. And it makes sense when there are multiple, it's a large company, they can afford a robot, which today the average robots will cost about, industrial robots cost about 100K and above in dollars after customizing it. So 100 to 200K. They would be in a good position to use it when they have a 3-shift factory and they have order books which are high. So there's a level threshold that, maybe a medium or large enterprise where they can actually benefit with robots. Now, if you look at it back for a small enterprise, where they are in a remote town, they're trying to employ people, they're getting a government, grant or a loan, an interest-free loan. There will be some stipulations in the clauses that you must hire certain number of people in order to, you're an SME to help that community. So there, I don't think this, this scenario would work, where they are in the threshold, they would have 3 shifts running and the order books are high and they would actually pay back the cost of the robots. So these are the 2 scenarios. I hope that gives some, throws some light, because my guest speakers have been mentioning about how the job losses would take place. But that's, I totally agree. The IT has actually improved because you need a lot of engineers to work back end in order to make the AI and ML systems work. And there is a great advantage by late starters. The use case is in China. In the past few years, they've been having apps where they actually monitor the ongoing the products in their factories, not from the desktop or laptop, but on the apps. So they have enough sensors on the site, they have enough data collection, and they're and send it in an app as a report. Okay, what's the schedule of the products? What is the WIP? What is the work in process? What has been the finished goods? And where are the inventory levels of the raw materials? So if and there are many Chinese companies who have been supporting them. They say the Western model doesn't work. So I don't see that as a negative use case. I see that as a highly positive case, because in India it's easier for any entrepreneur to access an IT guy from their local town, city, and get them to customize a model which costs much cheaper than, say, in dollars or euros.
Shrikant, as brought up by Sudhanshu, the industrial robots are going to cost anywhere upwards of $100,000. Will this be, will this become, a world where technology would be divided as the haves and the have-not, people, the companies that can afford it, vis-a-vis companies who cannot, or the technology itself will become cheaper?
Yeah, I think it's a phase, right? Any product that you have brought into the market, be it a software product, hardware product, right? Product will have its own life cycle. So I don't think robots have reached that inflection point where the costs will have started coming down, because there's a lot of innovation that is still going into robots, right? So for example, I think as recently as last week, I've read an article where Elon Musk is trying to create an humanoid robot, right, for manufacturing industry. So I think as long as there is an experimentation that is going on and new features that are getting added to these, machines, right, which we call as bots, the cost may be a little, prohibitive for some of the small and medium enterprise and mid market in the country. But nevertheless, it's only a time before they become affordable. There'll be probably robots which will be coming with fewer features because as Sudhanshu has also taken two different examples, right? Every industry, every vertical, every manufacturing plant may not need all the features that a powerful, perfect robot can give, right? So I think it will get to a point where there will be a feature set that will be defined by what a bot can do, and there'll be an affordable price point for those features, and most people can probably uh, you know uh, uh, afford those bots, right? Now, having said that, I still want to look and pass a message to the industry that a lot of entrepreneurs, manufacturing company owners should look at this as an innovation that they bring into their organizations, so that their staff looks at their organization being a transformative organization rather than just a brick and mortar organization, and still use the people who have tons and tons of experience so far, whose job is getting replaced or kind of a job is getting augmented with some help from board. What, how can that experience be monetized, right? So at the end of the day, if you have seen today AI and ML, right? It's not that it's something very new, right? I have if I kind of peel the onion and see what is AI/ML. Today we have machines, today we have cloud environments where your processing power of a computer can be enormous, right? And hence we are able to say that, hey, you give me the data, I have the processing power, so I'll put some models in place so that we can get some outcomes predicted, right? But to take us back to 20, 30, 40 years back, I think we had the data, we didn't have the processing power. We had the same kind of doctorates, PhDs who could have created the models even then, right? It's just an evolution that is happening, and and IT industry is taking advantage of trying to create the models. But if you look at again the job profile of whom we need, we are actually asking people who've done PhDs, scientists, data science people, right? So at the end of the day, I think the evolution is happening just because there is some additional layer of processing power that has come, right? Bots are the same. We have to look at them as the same thing. There is an autonomous body that is coming to help you, right? To take the help, right? And it will be affordable at some point in time, to your question. And then use the manpower that you have, where the intellectual capability and experience is tremendously high, and use them in a much more higher end task.
Srisha, finally for you, as a young tech company, how do you see the future of Indian startups slash young company like yours when it comes to delivering products or solutions using AI, ML, and data science?
All this while, I think we've said, oh, we're laggers. We start Indian IT services as BPO. Oh yeah, you might have matured to KPO. That's pretty much the maximum limit that you could get to. Yes, there are some tech jobs, but everybody's of the intention that I start a job here and then I land up in the US sometime as an on-site consultant. That was the ambition for Indian IT engineers for a very long time. I think with the advent of AI, like life comes in a full circle. Maybe AI is the inflection point for IT services industry in India. We've seen that happen to us. We are not a tier one company. Probably a lot of people don't know who we are, but the kind of clientele that we serve is definitely on par with the tier one companies. The reason being, we've got that capability to deliver on the AI/ML promise. And how do we do it? We have to continue to educate the customers as well as the engineers internally. I think just taking a segue, one reason why Indian companies kind of slightly lag is because of the impatience more than anything else. They don't have the capability to see things through, whether it is a services company, whether it is a client, vendor, doesn't matter. People want quick results. I think it's high time we do away with the jugards, put in all the hard work that is needed, and get the actual thing out. So for us, for young companies, for all the entrepreneurs in India, I think one thing that we have to be absolutely clear is we are not laggards in the ML AI space at all. It is absolutely a level playing field, like Srikant's mentioned. You are at the start of the race. Now it's up to you to build that endurance and go all the way. This is also a marathon. This is not like a sprint. You can't run and say, oh, I've done this. Yes, we're seeing billion-dollar companies in India. Yes, that's all happening. But they've taken time to get there. The time frame might have reduced, but they've put in all the hard work and efforts. So there is endurance that is needed. There's lack of impatience that is absolutely mandatory. Of course, keep up to speed with the technology trends. And if you have this three in a box, right, you have an engineer, you have a subject matter expert, you have the data science people together and work on a problem instead of doing it like just doing it in pun, not a factory model where you do one thing after the other. But if you are thinking together and if you implement this three in a box, I think Indian IT companies, whether it is products, services, doesn't matter, with AI, there will definitely be a difference in how they're perceived.
So thank you, lady, and thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. And we look forward to having you on our other shows. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining.